a little bit. But I'll introduce myself first. I'm Max. I do the marketing here at Cali Protectives. I also do athlete relations. If your team is sponsored by Cali, I'm in contact with whoever runs that. Um, just to kind of keep things going, keep people riding, keep people promoting stuff. We got a lot of cool just stuff in the works for marketing, social media. We got a couple videos planned out. So, I mean, it's all thanks to everybody's help and just even just word of mouth. I mean, we got people racing, we got people riding at parks, all aspects of just riding, whether you're racing or whether you're just riding with your buddies. Um, that word of mouth really means a lot to us and you guys just supporting us. So, yeah. Right here, this is Brad.
Hello, I'm Brad. Primarily, my job is product development, R&D. We like to be always testing new materials and constantly trying to make sure that when you go down, you get up and ride again. So ultimately, we're trying to make things better for you. I came from an R&D environment out of an aerospace company. Um, Primarily in carbon fiber composites. But the main point of that is that we try to take that mentality into everything we do here. So, we're working with chemical companies and just people with different newer ideas. I'm not a chemist, but I do a lot of testing, and I put everything through their tests and constantly trying to make things better.
Yeah.
So, so I just put a post on you guys on Facebook to let everyone know that we're over on Instagram. Sorry about the delay. Totally appreciate you guys coming on. You guys have been sponsoring me, for 4+ years, and when we launched John Bradley Custom, going on 4 years now, it was just a no-brainer. I wanted to, as our brand's growing, basically it's all about, helping the other companies that helped you, right? And so it's, with the, so what I, what I want to talk about a little bit, is kind of like history of the company, like you guys kind of shared, and kind of, what, there's some viewers that may be on this channel that may never have heard of you guys, because we're gonna have, motocross riders, flat track, enduro to BMX, mountain bike, ATV. So kind of lead with that.
Sure. But most people don't really realize that we actually started, our first helmets were motocross helmets. We had, I was developing carbon fiber shells, working with a helmet factory to figure out how to actually in-mold a motorcycle helmet, which is essentially where you take the shell and inject the foam in so it fills in completely. And, just to cut to the chase, what that does is it allows me to make a thinner shell and lighter, softer foam. In general, I believe all helmets are too hard. It's based on how our standards were written. So we have to find ways to layer the foams and to inject in place. So the result was a molded helmet that was significantly lighter than what was on the market. I remember we went to our first motorcycle show in Indianapolis. If you guys remember when there was a Indianapolis motorsports trade show, and I thought we had come out with the most amazing new product, and people would be blown away. And you kind of could hear the yawn from the industry. Oh no, another helmet. But as people started putting it in their hands and started realizing that, well, wait, this is different, and it is lighter without, making it less strong. That in-molding process means now that the materials are working together rather than having two separate jobs. And then we expanded that into downhill mountain bike, and that's where it kind of took off. And maybe my experience were on the bicycle side. The company kind of went that way, but we still do a lot of motorcycle helmets. They're on the higher end side. because that in molding process is costly, but I stand by it. I believe that the process that we have makes the foam significantly lighter and softer. You got to put softer shit next to your head. Helmets are too hard.
I mean, that's why we test different layers like this ERT. We recently did a blog post on ERT. Energy Reduction Technology is what ERT stands for. I mean, what got us, I mean, besides just testing materials and seeing what works best, what kind of drove us into the direction of ERT?
Well, okay, so I go back to this whole statement where I say helmets are too hard. And it, again, based on how our standards are written, we have to take a certain amount of force. That means the foam inside is hard. But a typical piece of foam doesn't start crushing till 50, 60, 70 Gs, and you're already experiencing some level of brain trauma. So why we started putting, I just called it a low density layer. Back in 2011, we started putting memory foam on the inside of the helmet, just something we found. And then we started doing more and more research and finding different materials that would absolutely absorb the energy better. But a material like this, if you think about it, it goes on the, between your head and that foam that's not going to crush till 50, 60, 70 Gs, where this starts crushing immediately and starts dissipating that energy. It also helps slide and skid off those oblique impacts, rotational forces. We've done a lot of testing on different systems, and you'll hear people talk about different systems that you put in helmets to reduce rotational forces. And I'm happy to share a lot of tests that show the number one thing you can do to reduce rotational forces is not put a system in, including this one. It's to make your foam softer. When the foam is softer, the whole structure moves and dissipates that energy, oblique energy. So it'll be a theme whenever you hear me talk that the whole goal is to get softer foams next to your head. Now there is a spot where it gets too soft, and if it bottoms out, that's a problem. And that's what those old ProTech helmets did that the skateboarders used to use. It had no EPS foam in it. It was just soft foam, which was great in some ways because they did a lot of small hits until they didn't, right? So, I remember talking to actually, he was a teacher or somebody that Max used to skate with, and he said, "Why don't you wear these kind of helmets?" And he's like, "Because the bike helmets hurt my head, and that has to do with the hardness of the foam." So our goal is just to get everything in there so that that's going to dissipate all the energy to get a much wider range from 0 Gs all the way up to 300 Gs.
Well, because I received I got the training carbon, you guys, and it's interesting is, and I don't know if you do it with every helmet, but this helmet came, with an extra. Well, first of all, it comes with a carrying case, and like you're talking on the inside. This is the Trinity Carbon. You guys freaking love this helmet. I love the colors. Fits amazing. But what I noticed is like my helmet came with extra padding. Do you guys have the extra padding for every helmet that you sent out?
Typically, yeah. We put. I mean, everybody's head's a little different. Ideally, we would make 6 size shells, but that's super expensive to do. I always compliment Arai as a great helmet company because they don't change their shapes very often at all, but then they have a lot of different shell sizes. But we typically have 2 or 3 shell sizes and have to make adjustments on the interior. So we just go ahead and send it with it because everybody's head's a little different. It's tough to get everybody perfect.
So it's cool as on the adjustable strap here, it's obviously there must be a magnet in there because it just clicks right into place.
Yeah, that's the Fidlock buckle. That's an old school argument between the old motocross guys whether you want double Ds or a newer technology. I've I've grown into be a fan of those. They're easy to deal with gloves on. They just kind of slide past each other. So the Trinity being a downhill rated helmet, we decided that would go better than the double Ds. We still stay with the double Ds on the Shiva, which is our high-end motocross helmet.
Yeah, and I love the venting. I mean, there's a venting right there. There's venting in the back of your head, or here and here and here. So right close to right there.
Notice eye port is, right? Lots of air gets in there. Yeah, I'm super stoked about this helmet. It tests out like I want it to. I'm sure you've heard about our crash replacement, and we've already gotten some pretty big crashes back on these. And I do look at all of them, and I study them, and I look to see what happens. And it's testing out the way that I dream about. So this is the helmet I want you in. This is the helmet that if you're going to crash, you want this one on your head.
Yeah, it's the cliche of this is the helmet you want to crash in, but obviously you don't want to crash. But we will replace it. The first one's on us. Like we said, we have a crash replacement policy that's pretty killer throughout the whole line, even if you're crashing $500 carbon helmet.
Yeah, just the way that started was, people would write letters in saying, "Hey, I crashed. Thank you." Usually it was "thank you," and my first response is always, "Man, thank God you're all right," because another meters another way, and things can be different even in our helmet, even when we believe so much in what we're doing. And then I'd say, "Hey, if you send me the helmet so I can study it, I cut them open, I look at it, I look how everything worked, whether it cracked or crushed." And I on the side send him a new helmet. Well, marketing gets hold of it, and then it becomes a thing. But and people freaked out at first, like our distributors and everybody freaked out, like, "Oh my God, you're giving helmets away." And I'm like, it's part of us, and it's part of what we do to continually improve. And I do. I look at them, I study them. Like I said, sometimes I cut them open just to see if we got the kind of crush that we expect. And there's a certain amount of crush you want versus cracking. If they crack too much, then I want to try and get the foam softer again.
Right.
Ooh,
that's amazing. I'm not sure if you guys can see the reactions from the viewers on Instagram, but you guys are getting tons of hearts and 100%. Can you guys see that?
Yeah, I can see the people. We got a couple.
That's awesome.
Ryan, Gianna.
Yeah. That's probably as much as obviously as important as motocross or ATV, regarding dirt clogs, flying at your head, but even BMX, you never know. I mean, especially when it's sunny out, it's bright out. It's just, I got the Trinity goggles, you guys. These things are phenomenal. They initially come with the blue lens, but you can get the additional reflective, gold lens with the Just Flow strap. Yeah. These things are freaking amazing.
We got more glasses in the works. Nothing. Well, maybe we could show. I don't know. I guess we'll see right now. Need to put anybody on the spot. Whatever.
Yeah, we've got another set coming.
That's the fun thing about the live. You get to see stuff other people don't.
Come hang out here. You'll see some weird stuff. But we've got.
Where is Cali? So where are you guys located at? So people know.
California. So we're right by San Jose. Hour south of San Francisco.
Yeah.
So cool.
A new pair of goggles that are on their way now. They are the magnetic lenses. They pop right in.
Wow.
Super excited about these. These are actually I designed these in conjunction with a gentleman who worked at Fox for many years and then went to 100%, and now he's a freelance guy. And I worked with him on helmet shapes before. So my job is the engineering. My job is to make sure that it dissipates the energy. So I work with more talented shapers, artist guys. But we tend to start with the inside first. What's our goals? What are we trying to do? Whereas typically the way a helmet gets designed or a product gets designed is they start with the shape and say, here, look, doesn't this look cool? And then they hand it to somebody like me and say, okay, now make it safe. And that's not the way we start. We start with what's the idea? What are we trying to do? You know, and I mean, let's not lie. Shape matters. Colors matter. It took me a long time to embrace that because I was the, you know, safety engineering first. But the reality is if it doesn't look good, you're not going to want to put it on your head. So
Right.
we're trying to balance. I remember I hired a designer once, and in the office that I was interviewing him, and I had written on the wall, safety before design. And he was like, you know, can we say safety with design? I'm like, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
So
Well, I mean, it's interesting. You see a lot of gear companies, they're at a helmet or they're at goggles, and I know clothing. I love designing. That's my background. John Bradley, we have over 100 different color options for our riders. So that's something that I'll never do. I'll never make a bike. I mean, it's almost comical. You're like, oh, you started a apparel company, so now you're going to come off the bike. No, I stick with them. So joining companies like you guys that like it's just amazing talking to you, right, Brad? That your stuff, man. So why would I ever there's no way I would ever go into something that I have no idea what I'm doing. And join a company like Cali, it's amazing.
well, there's there's plenty of people that do it the other way. I mean, there's factories out there that you can walk into and say, make me this, and they'll do it for you. And
Right.
that, and sometimes they do okay and sometimes they don't. I mean, we had a lot of discussions about Virginia Tech and 5-star ratings. And, yes, you can have a $40 Walmart helmet that can get 5 stars.
Sure.
Usually by accident, not on purpose. But, those, so, we take our designing seriously. We take the safety part very seriously. And so there's other brands too. And then there's others who are just, slapping some colors on. I don't mention names.
Right. Right. And so another gear that as a so I got back in BMX about 5 years ago, and back and I rode in the '80s, and obviously we had open face helmets, no gear. Just when I got back into racing, into BMX, my friends were like, you're gonna either get gear now or gonna get gear later. I'm like, what are you talking about? And like, it just never even crossed my mind. And like, well, thank goodness I did, right? Because the tracks are obviously different than they were back in the '80s. With asphalt, cement, and soil tech tracks. But it's so I have the Strike knee shin guard. You guys, this thing been wearing this for like I think 2 seasons now. They have a Velcro strap in the back, and you guys, I see you have the Mission and the and then also the Strike HD. But I just love the aspect of so is the Strike HD like an upgrade from this particular Strike?
Yeah, it's a little heavier duty. The one that you have there is great for pedaling. It's super pedalable. It's lightweight. The material is made by a chemical company out of Italy called Aliamentis, and they're kind of like Dow Chemicals of Italy, where they're constantly working on different formulations. We actually worked with them on a new internal foam material that is actually multi-impact. So we've taken this material here, it's called Cassidian, and put it into our Shiva. And I've hit that Shiva one helmet in a test lab 80 times. So now you're not going to, every time it falls off your handlebars, you don't have to wonder if you've damaged it in some way. As long as this material isn't cracked, it's perfectly good to be impacted again. So working with different people like that. Back to the Strike HD, wanted something a little bit fuller, a little bit a little bit more protective, a little more side protection. So that's the HD. It's a little heavier weight.
It still moves well, but it's that harder outside layer.
Yeah. So you're looking for a little bit more protection. So it
Good to
depends
know.
on, you know, this one, if you're pedaling a lot, that thing is so pedalable. So the HD is a little bit more, you're maybe doing your enduro riding, maybe you're doing your e-bike riding, but it's a little heavier weight.
So is the HD longer as well than this the strike model?
Yeah, I would say it's slightly longer, especially at the bottom. That little fabric layer at the bottom is longer and it's a little bit thicker.
So it's gonna cover my shin at all on the Strike HD?
Well, so we do have our Casa shin pads that people have been pairing up with these. We also have another knee guard that was actually made to be paired up with the shin. So it's like an actual full-on knee shin combo. Obviously, you can wear them separate, but together as a combo, they fit really well.
There's the shin, and then this kind of just works together with it if you want the full coverage.
But yeah, you can see there's a slightly longer.
So that's the HD right there, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but even so, you're still gonna be able to move in these.
And then the Casa also work well with these as well, right?
Yep,
Works
the
really
Casa
well with
works.
that one. Yeah.
The Casa works with all of our knee pads.
Because because even at BMX, I mean, I had just a really crazy crash like a year and a half ago, and where I did doing the splits, and both inside my knees hit the ground, and so this fortunately I did not have it, these wearing these. That's when I got these after that accident, because the ones I had before didn't have any protection on the inside or outside your knees. So this definitely has, it kind of wraps around your kneecap. But you're saying that the Strike HD even does more than that, so that's good to know.
And it's a hard shell on the outside, like an exoskeleton.
Okay.
So if you see this side, your Strike has this material all the way across it, right?
Right.
So that we're like it's hard. It's a ABS PC blend, and it will divert the energy. And then you have the Casidian Zelion, actually the material from the Italians, behind it. So you do have more protection. It does go further down on the shin, below it. That so
Awesome.
go to that.
And then I also got I've been wearing the hip pads, it's going to give me hip on, protection on the side, the back, the front. Are you guys in the works or talking about like a full vest, like a vest or full? There's other companies obviously have like a full vest with that,
right,
where it's like a shirt.
G-Form has a pretty nice one, I think. We've been playing around with that for a while. We haven't pulled the trigger on that one yet. So, yeah. And it's a little bit of a mix of what we're looking for. I kind of like the softer ones, more mobility. We had full plated one years ago with this whole black thing, and it was just a monstrosity. And so we kind of let that one fade away. Yeah, it was definitely more Moto X. But yeah, no, I don't have one of those in design right now. So if enough people complain, I'll get my ass working on
I've got a few questions about body armor, but just stuff like chest protectors. So I don't know. Maybe we could do something with this. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I've seen, I'll go like to nationals and they'll have different brands, and a lot of them are soft. One company came out with a version like kind of like talking with the entire plate. It's kind of a hard plate.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, because in BMX, a lot of guys, when they go down, they break their collarbone. So it's something they need, like protection on their collarbone. Something shoulder, and like a full shirt with for the elbows. So because I won't wear it, and then I'll put my jersey obviously over that, right? And then something that's down the sides or covers your ribs, your kidneys, right? So that would be amazing if you guys had something like that in the future.
Well, we're increasing our internal capabilities on sew, cut and sew, and things like that. So it does expand our ability to do more. Instead of just finding some random factory to do it, we're now bringing kind of more under our ownership. We'll see.
Well, again, totally appreciate you guys coming on. Again, so I'm going to share this video over to our Facebook so we get, as well as to save it so that we have our riders from all over the country that, for ATV, motocross, enduro, BMX, mountain bike, and because all of our state teams, we have 11 state teams, and our national riders on BMX side, we have 50 plus riders on each of those on our state teams as well as our national teams, and they all get an additional discount with you guys. So if you're a BMX rider and you're interested in joining those teams and getting great discounts with companies like Cali, reach out to me. And again, you guys' website is Cali Protectives, KALI Protectives.com.
Yeah. And also feel free to reach out to us on Instagram if you have any questions about anything. We also have a technology page on our website that talks about, how this all started, what we do. Like I said, we also just did a blog post about this ERT material if you want to learn more about that and why we think it makes our helmets better than everybody else's, which is a bold thing to say, but we will back up what we say with science.
That's amazing. It's because obviously that's very, very important that, sometimes, people, when they put a lot of money into their bike, for the motocross or BMX, sometimes unfortunately, they think putting less, effort or thought into, protecting their head. And so it's just good to know that you guys are definitely, know what you're doing.
Well, I believe our bikes are getting better. So it's allowing us, as we grow older, I'm talking about me, to continue to do stuff that, that do those jumps or those drops that I didn't think I could keep doing, but because the bikes are getting better, you're able to continue to do those things. And that means the kids are even going crazier. I'm watching, Christian Earhart videos a little earlier today going, damn, son, slow down. But that's what he's doing. But, my preference is you're not thinking about your helmet, that you completely forget about it, that you have confidence in what we're doing. Because the last thing I want you doing is thinking about your helmet as you're in the start gate. Worry about your positioning and everything else. But we do give a shit. We care about what happens to you. We care about what happens when you go down, because just like you, we want to get up and ride again.
Exactly. We also ride bikes, so we care. Or when people, I like to replace people's crash helmets. It's like, yeah, I don't want you to spend another $500 on a helmet because you probably wanted to buy a new set of bars or whatever it is. Like, it's not the cheapest sport, but we make do,
We like to ride.
Yep.
That's awesome, man. Well, I'll let you guys go because I know you guys have a busy day, but again, I appreciate it. Sorry about the hang-ups on technical difficulties, but appreciate you guys' time. You guys, again, for our viewers, thanks for viewing in. You guys definitely check out Cali Protectives, from your helmets to your goggles to your protection gear. They also do gloves and t-shirts, things like that. So, but so stoked to have you guys as a sponsor for our teams, and we'll definitely be promoting you guys. So much appreciated.
Thanks for your time, man.
Yeah, we appreciate the support.
All right, guys, have a great day.
So, thank you guys for viewing.